Hi there. So today we are going to be doing a sort of harder differentiation example. I say harder, it's not the hardest, but if you can do this, you're definitely on the right track, succeeding. Right, so right off the bat here, I can tell you we are going to be using the quotient rule and the chain rule indefinitely, okay? So how do we go about using these? And the simple answer is we've got to determine what we need to do first, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to let y equal u over v. Therefore, u is going to be equals to 1 and v is going to be 6x minus 1 to the half. Now, according to the quotient rule, we need to find the derivative of u, so du dx, and the derivative of v with respect to x, which is dv dx, both differentiating with respect to x. Okay, and to do that, so we all know that the differential of 1 is just going to be 0, so du dx is 0. But for the second term, so when we're looking for dv dx, we have a bit of an issue here. We've got to think, this is a bit harder, we've got to think a little bit more. So what do? We use the chain rule. Okay, so now I don't want to keep on changing the variables again and again and again. It just gets very, very confusing if I keep on changing the variables within the question. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do it inside this box here. So let's just say y equals 6x minus 1 to the half. Now, according to the chain rule, dy dx is dy du times du dx. So what we do is dy dx is dy du times du dx. And now, just for a bit of clarity and understanding, so the way it works is, obviously you've got your du at the bottom and at the top, and then you're timing those two terms together. So those cancel, and you just get left with dy dx again, saying dy dx equals dy dx, which is obviously true, because look, we cancel, we're just going to get dy dx. Okay, so you know that's how the chain rule works. We're not breaking laws of mathematics, obviously, by using it. So what do we do here then? So what we do is I'm going to let x minus 1 equal u. Might need to extend this box out a bit, actually. Let's just do it outside. So then y will be equal to 6u to the power of a half. And then dy du, dy du is going to be, so we're bringing a half down there, and we're going to get a half times 6, lots of u, and then we're going to take 1 away from the power, as we usually do. What did I just do there? And that's going to give us minus a half. Now, that's going to give us 3u to the minus a half. Now, what do we do next? We find du dx, okay? So finding du dx, we're differentiating u, so we set u as equals to x minus 1, and now we're just differentiating that, and that's going to give us 1. Okay, so now, what we do is, we just times everything together, so we have dy du, and we have du dx, so that'll be 3u to the minus a half, so that's our dy du term. And then we've got du dx, which is just 1. And now that will just leave us with 3u to the minus a half. Okay, but what is u when you substitute u back in? So dy dx will just be 3 lots of u, which is x minus 1 to the minus a half. Okay, so we've determined our dy dx here. Obviously that translates to dv dx here, because v is the subject and we've got x. I just did this separately for clarity. So we're just going to have 3x minus 1 to the minus a half. Right, so that was a lot of work so far, but so you see this bit here, right? That that's just practice, really. You can do it in your head really quickly, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it in my head now. I'm going to get rid of it, just so we have more room to work with and so things aren't as cluttered. So dv dx is 3 lots of x minus 1 to the half. How do I do it? So first of all, we treat this as a single term. So say, you know, we're differentiating, so we just set this as something else. So effectively just treating it as a term instead of treating the x as a term only and then leaving that as a constant. So we're treating it all as a term. So then we move the half in front of that as you normally would, and then you take a power away from the top, and then what you do after that is you differentiate the inside and then just times it by everything and you're sorted. Okay, so that's that step out of the way. Now let's focus on our second, so we've got our du dx, we've got our u and our v and our dv dx. So now using the quotient rule here, we are going to solve the differential. So now dy dx is just going to be v du dx. We know our v value, this is our v value. So v du dx is just 0, so that renders that whole term 0. And then minus u dv dx, our u value is 1, our dv dx is this guy here. So minus 1 lots of 3x minus 1 to the minus a half. And then that's all over v squared. V is 6x minus 1 all squared. So that's 6x minus 1 to the half, sorry. And that's all squared. And then that will give us 0 minus 3x minus 1 to the minus a half. And that's going to be over, so that's 6 squared is 36. And then x minus 1 to the to the 1. And yeah, that's your differential, but we're going to simplify it now. So dy dx is going to be minus, what is this? A 12th, yeah, minus a 12th, x to the minus 1 to the minus a half over x minus 1, and then that's going to give us, so that's to the power of 1 over there, isn't it? So if we're going to get rid of things proportionally, well, we move that to the bottom, and then we're going to get 1 over 12 x minus 1 to the minus, let's see, no, that's going to be to the positive 3 over 2, isn't it? Yeah, to the positive 3 over 2, that's a power, so I'm just going to write that out more neatly. 12x minus 1 to the minus 3 over 2, or to the plus 3 over 2, because if we take away 1 there to power laws and then we bring everything down, that's what we're going to get. Yep, and that's to the 3 over 2. And that's your answer. So if you've got any more questions, any more ideas for tutorial or whatever, please let me know in the comment section down below. Also like, share, subscribe, you know, all that generic YouTuber stuff. You know, I'm trying to get the algorithm to go in my favor. So, you know, and then I can post more stuff for you guys as well. Be great, you know, win-win situation for everyone. You know, I give out tutorials, you guys like and subscribe, I win, you win, we all win. Speaking of winning, actually, you know, the biggest win for me is for you guys to win at your